People who have survived deadly COVID-19 infections have long-lasting immune responses against the virus, say researchers, adding that survivors may have 4 months of protection. Also read, China claims COVID-19 broke out in various parts of world, only it reported first. The study, published in the journal Science Immunology, offers hope that people infected with the virus will develop lasting protection against reinfection. Also read, Maharashtra government postpones MPSC exam scheduled on October 11 in view of COVID-19. The research also demonstrated that measuring antibodies can be an accurate tool for tracking the spread of the virus in the community. Also read, Watch it to believe it. This 8-year-old Israeli girl loves swimming with her 11-foot pet python. The internet is scared. The immune system produces proteins called antibodies in response to SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. But there is a big knowledge gap in terms of how long these antibody responses last, said study author Rochelle Charles from the Massachusetts General Hospital (MGH) in the U.S. To find out, the research team obtained blood samples from 343 patients with COVID-19, most of whom had severe cases. The blood samples were taken up to 4 months after a patient's symptoms emerged. The blood's plasma was isolated and applied to laboratory plates coated with the receptor binding domain (RBD) of the virus's spike protein, which attaches to cells, leading to infection. The team studied how different types of antibodies in the plasma bound to RBD. The results were compared to blood samples obtained from more than 1,500 individuals prior to the pandemic. The researchers found that measuring an antibody called immunoglobulin G (IgG) was highly accurate in identifying infected patients who had symptoms for at least 14 days. Since the standard PCR nasal swab test for SARS-CoV-2 loses sensitivity over time, augmenting it with a test for antibodies in patients who have had symptoms for at least 8 days, at which time 50% are producing antibodies, will help identify some positive cases that might otherwise be. The researchers found that IgG levels remained elevated in these patients for 4 months, and were associated with the presence of protective neutralizing antibodies, which also demonstrated a little decrease in activity over time. That means that people are very likely protected for that period of time. We showed that key antibody responses to COVID-19 do persist, the authors wrote. In another finding, the researchers showed that people infected with SARS-CoV-2 had immunoglobulin A (IgA) and immunoglobulin M (IgM) responses that were relatively short-lived, declining to low levels within about 2.5 months or less, on average. We can say now that if a patient has IgA and IgM responses, they were likely infected with the virus within the last 2 months, the team noted. For breaking news and live news updates, like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Read more on latest lifestyle news on India.com. Topics: Antibodies for 4 months. Coronavirus survivor. COVID-19 survivors health lifestyle research. Published date, October 9, 2025, 04 p.m. IST. Please support us to grow my channel by subscribing and pressing the bell icon for future interesting lifestyle videos.